Today I'm going to teach you how you can create these Y2K Frutiger Aero Metro aesthetic effects inside of After Effects. Let's go. Alright guys, so Y2K effects are back in style apparently. We want to use them for our music videos, and apparently it's really cool. So let's go ahead and get into this. Making these style effects are honestly really fun. I've had like the most fun making this test effect more than like any other tutorial this past month, but that's also kind of because it's like an art form, and the way you arrange and like compose everything in the shot are very artistic. I'm gonna give them credit. Those designers back then in 2010 had some style. They knew what they were doing. So the more patience and effort that you kind of put into the effect, the better the effect is going to be. So with that, let's get straight into it. I'm gonna try to get through everything quickly. So first up, whoa, that was kind of scary. So first up here, I have this clip of Pink Panthers fully rotoscoped out. If you don't know how to rotoscope, you can check out this tutorial right here, but I'm assuming you know how to rotoscope if you're doing this tutorial. I don't know. I think Pink Panthers is like the perfect Y2K aesthetic artist to test this effect on. Right after that, the first thing you're gonna need are these set of files. So right here, I have some halftone dots, this Metro aesthetic screenshot, and then some other like weird speakers and circles. So I've linked below to all these pictures, PNG images. You can download below in the description. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and import that into my project bin, and let's create our background first. So the first effect we're going to be creating is the animated like swirly line effect. Now there's two ways you can create this: naturally in After Effects, and second with the image. I'm going to teach you the second with the image way first because it's easiest and fastest. So all you're going to do is get the screenshot downloaded below in the description, or you can download your own, scale it up, and then go to your layer, create a new solid, and make sure it's fully white. I'm editing in a 4K sequence right now, but some people like scale down the effects so that it's like actually 480p. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to my effects and presets and search for a wipe effect. This is the linear wipe right here, and I drag and apply this to my Frutiger Metro PNG. Change the wipe angle to -90 degrees. And then I want you to make sure that there's a keyframe right here at the transition completion, like 2 seconds in. Go about 1.5 seconds before and increase that transition completion to 100%. Now we have this nice reveal effect. Let's turn up that feather to like 100 or like 90. And now it's nice and feathered. I might turn it up a little bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select both of these layers. We're going to right click them, pre-compose, make sure you move all attributes into the new composition, and hit OK. Go back to your effects and presets, search for the threshold effect, CC threshold, and apply that to the layer. CC threshold, by the way, is like the key effect of this entire aesthetic. We're going to be using that effect like a lot in this tutorial. Basically just kind of mess around with the threshold until you get like a look that you like. I would say hit a keyframe if you want to take it a further extra step at the end, and go a couple keyframes before, and you can like decrease it a little bit, so that way you get some like more further animation as it plays out. Right click, keyframe assistant, and easy ease to get like a smoother effect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our effects and we're going to search for the Luma key effect, apply that to just basically remove the white background. Then we're going to go back to our effects and search for a gradient ramp effect. And let's apply this gradient ramp right here to the pre-comp. If the entire image went gradient like this, that's because your Luma key is still on key out darker. Change it to key out brighter, and boom, there we go. Now we have this gradient background. Now what's really cool is you can change the color of this. So I'm gonna go for like, let's go for something like pink because it's Pink Panther. So hit OK. Let's go ahead and drag this below to our bottom layer because this is our background. And yeah, that's looking pretty Metro already. Now I'm gonna teach you how you can create this naturally inside of After Effects. It's more work, but you will get cooler and more customizable results. So let's go ahead and turn off the visibility of this and this top layer. Now I'm going to click off all my layers. I'm going to go to my pen tool. I'm going to make sure my stroke is around like 300 pixels, and make sure your fill is off. You can just click on fill and make sure it's off. And now let's draw a couple of lines. So I'm going to start by drawing this first line right here, and it's just like this really weird wavy line, just like that. That works perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is watch very carefully. You're going to go over here to the drop down on shape layer 1 that you just created, hit add, and then what we're going to do is we're going to hit the trim pass button. Now for path number 1, you're going to go to the very end of the clip where you want like the full line animation to finish completion. And let's go ahead and make sure that keyframe on the end at 100% is set. go a couple frames before to the beginning and turn it down to 0%. You can see that line animates naturally. If you want to make it smoother, just click on the graph editor, and then you can just go ahead and mess around with some of those anchor points and like just make it a little bit smoother. So yeah, that looks kind of cool. Now I'm gonna make it look a little bit more Frutiger Metro. Hit the drop down on stroke 1, and then we're gonna hit the drop down on taper, and the end length you can increase or decrease. I'm going to decrease it a little bit because I get this nice little, like, I don't know, it just looks more aesthetic. And just like that, you can see we have some crazy looking animations. I recommend duplicating these layers and then just messing around with the direction and position of them so that you get different looks. You can of course apply a gradient ramp to this as well, and then set this to like a pink color as well, so it like kind of matches that same vibe aesthetic that we're going for. And yeah, that's pretty much how you do it, creating the shape layers. Make a bunch of these layers and then you'll have an intricate design just like this. But now combined, these honestly look pretty good, and especially if we turn on our front like subject layer, yeah, that's looking pretty Metro Aero. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna affect the subjects. Now the subjects are pretty easy. Of course, make sure they're rotoscoped. Check out our rotoscope tutorial if you don't know how to do that. I'm going to go to my effects and presets, and you guessed it, we're searching for that CC threshold effect and apply it to our rotoscope layer. Now it's kind of looking scary. Don't worry, I'm going to turn down the threshold amount. Obviously your image is different, everybody's image is different, until we get like a nice like threshold enough look, and boom, there we go. Yeah, that's looking pretty Metro already. Let's go ahead and apply some more images just to spice things up. I'm gonna go to my halftone like circle background. I'm gonna apply this in our background right here. Let's go ahead and scale this up so we get some halftone dots. I'm gonna change the blending mode to something like multiply, and let's turn down the opacity to around like, I don't know, 26. I'm gonna put this on the very bottom layer just so we have like a nice background. Now let's go ahead and add the speakers and circles. Now the speakers and circles are honestly probably one of my favorite parts, just because they add like bounce and you can animate them, especially to be on beat, and you have like really cool animation look. So I'm starting off with these like Frutiger Aero circles that I downloaded from Pinterest. Shout out to the Pinterest designer, whoever made these are fire. I'm going to search for an inverted effect first just so I can match it with the white color, and then we're going to change the blending mode to multiply, of course. Now what we're going to do is we're just basically going to apply a transform effect and animate it so that it just kind of bounces a little bit. So I'm going to apply this transform effect. I'm going to hit the drop down, hit the drop down on effects, hit the drop down on transform, and let's go ahead and create a keyframe right here at scale at 100, normal 100. Then we're going to go like 2-3 keyframes after. We're going to decrease it to like 80%, and then we're going to go a couple frames after and increase it back up to 100%. And now what you're going to want to do is click on that graph editor. This is really important that we do this because it's like vital to making the animation look smooth. Hit the little like Bezier easy ease keyframe right here in the bottom corner, and then just drag these keyframes right here just so that they become adjusted. You can select these two and easy ease them as well. And yeah, just kind of like mess around with the keyframes so we get this nice smooth animation look. And yeah, that's looking pretty cool. So now we got that little bounce with it. You can turn on the motion blur as well so you get like some motion blur. Okay, now we got the speaker bounce. It kind of like pops in and bounces. I think that was looking pretty cool. I'm gonna search for a lumetri color as well just so I can match the pinks. Okay, now we have the circles. We're just gonna do the same exact thing but for the speakers. This is pretty much one of the final elements of the Frutiger Metro aesthetic. I'm gonna apply this first speaker right here, and we might just make 2 of them. Let's go ahead and apply this in like this top left hand corner. Now, of course, you guessed it, once again, we're searching for that threshold effect. Apply CC threshold to the speaker, and now we got that crazy looking Frutiger speaker. Count how many times I said speaker in this video, by the way, and I'll give you a free preset pack, 11%.net, seriously. Now go ahead and hit the drop down on the threshold on that speaker, and the cool thing about this is we can animate the threshold as well. So I'm gonna hit a keyframe at the threshold somewhere in the middle, go a couple frames after and set another keyframe, and then go directly in the middle of those 2 keyframes, and we're gonna decrease the threshold actually a lot. And now let's just go ahead, select all these, right click them, keyframe, easy ease, so that they have like some smooth animation right here in the graph editor. And now it looks like that speaker is animated as well. Of course, change the blend mode to something like multiply, so it's blended in the background. And then we're just gonna go ahead and apply that same series of transform animations to the speaker. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this part up. And boom, there we go. Now we have a crazy looking Y10K effect already. Now the last thing I recommend doing, and it just really ties this entire effect together, is camera shake. You have to have some camera shakes, some zooms and stuff. So what you're gonna do is you're first gonna create an adjustment layer, and we're gonna create 2 adjustment layers actually. Create that first one, hit Command D to duplicate the second one, trim the second one down to 8 frames exactly, Command Shift D. And now I'm going to be using my new Shake It Up V2 pack, which we actually just dropped for After Effects. Now, the Shake It Up pack is available on our website, 11%.net. It is paid. We do have a free sample version, though, that you can test out. And basically how it works is there's 50 custom presets of like camera shakes. You just drag and drop them onto adjustment layer. So I'll show you. Let's use hit 2, 8 to 10 frames and apply that to our adjustment layer. And boom, there you go. Now we have some like small minor shake. And you can see if I apply this like directly on the beat hit, it looks absolutely insane. So boom, the speakers move, there's like camera shake, and it's I don't know, it looks pretty cool. Also, when she like pops up, I can duplicate it and apply one there as well. So she pops in, and then there's like a hit. I think it's looking pretty sick if you ask me. Lastly, of course, to just spice everything up, this one you don't even need the pack. Just apply a transform effect to that first adjustment layer, and we're just gonna set like a zoom out scale at the very end at 100, and then zoom in to like I don't know, 119 in the beginning, and boom, there you go. That is looking pretty crazy. The more time and effort and thought that you put into planning and creating these, the better the effect is gonna look. But that's just a basic overview of how you can create these effects. And actually, one last hack that you can do to make this look really cool is you can select all those layers before the adjustment layers, pre-compose them into just one big layer like that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit Command D to duplicate that entire pre-comp, and then you're basically just going to squish down the entire dimensions of it. Drag it down right here so it's at the kind of at the bottom of the screen. Create a new solid white layer, and then drag that down to just match that same position of the second pre-comp. Drag the white layer before the second pre-comp like that, and then on that first pre-comp, the top pre-comp layer, you're gonna hit transform and turn the opacity down to like 30%. So that way you kind of have like a reflective ground, which is like really popular and used in a lot of those like Y10K videos. It's a small little trick that can just make things feel a little bit more Y10K and 3, but if you want to do that, you can do that. With that, guys, I hope you found something useful. If you want to check out that camera Shake It Up V2 pack, it's available at the link in the description. Of course, you can check out some other free presets we got at our store. It really mean the world. If you want to see another tutorial on how you can import animated 3D objects directly inside of After Effects, I recommend you checking out this tutorial right here. But with that, hope you found something useful. See you on the next one. Peace.